joined here today by my two brothers, Nick Sweeney. Say hello, Nick.
Hello, everyone.
And Jack Moses.
Hello.
I love when a three-way podcast does that. So people know who's speaking and what their name is. And we were doing a meditation last night, and I was getting this deep feeling that we've all known each other before this lifetime, and how incredible it is that we all came back in this moment to be together. And our friend Jack Sweeney was there as well, our friend and brother. And it was just a powerful moment. And so the fact that we get to record this conversation in this moment, Jack Sweeney is off coding somewhere, locked up in the dungeon.
Or meditating.
One or the other.
Coherence. And link for Coherence down below. Just feel I was reflecting on the meditation that we just did. What has brought us together? What is the reason why all three of us have found each other and connected in this way? What are the similarities between us three specifically? And you could throw Jack Sweeney involved in this mix as well. But what I came to, and I'm curious about your guys' perspective, is all three of us have this fire inside of us. And that fire gets expressed in 2025 online. And this fire has gotten expressed with us sharing the truth of our experience to help people grow, to help people learn, to share our experience with how someone else on the other side can say, oh, that's me. And this relentless output that we all have, this relentless focus on God that we've all came to at around the same time, and this relentless desire for people to live the lives that are truest and deepest and most connected to them. And we all drink Mountain Valley water.
Of course.
But how does that resonate with you guys? That's what came through to me as I was doing that meditation, which is posted on my channel or Nick's channel pre-recording.
I'm going to have to, I don't know if I can do a reclined chair for this podcast. It's already getting a little serious.
Too serious.
The moon is in Scorpio, so that's why.
Man, I don't think that we would be able to have a definitive answer, but it's all like a feeling. It's sort of ineffable, at least for me. It's like, well, why do I seem to have this desire to be of service to this degree? And I would say that part of it is maybe this more warrior archetype, that I see so much suffering and I've been granted so many advantages in this life and so much opportunity in this life, that I feel it's also asking for that level of responsibility. So more opportunity, with that comes more responsibility. And I just feel that what sort of a life would I live if I was to squander all of the advantages that I've been able to enjoy in this life? And we all have a unique experience, and it's pretty simple to me that it is most powerful when you're speaking from your lived experience, and there's so much to offer from each and every person's individual category of one lived experience. And so I just feel this duty. I don't know if you guys have felt that. I've always felt like whatever I'm doing, it has to be in the direction of the greater good, or what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't live a fulfilling life. I wouldn't want to get up in the morning and be excited if it wasn't for something greater than myself. And that's maybe the core heartstone of what's brought us together too, is this desire to do good and to not make it about us, but about the greater good.
Yeah.
And that's just what's kind of coming through to me.
Yeah. Use the experiences and the gifts that we've been given to help others.
Right. Like, are you going to go work at like Intel in a corporate job or?
Bro, it's so weird that you say that. I was walking by Oracle today and being like, this is wild. That this is the reality that is chosen and is like, I would like to do this in this moment. And it's wild to me from my own personal experience that it was like going to college was a reality that I was choosing of like, this is how I'm going to use my talents the most. It's like it's so different to how the 29, soon to be 30-year-old version of myself lives and with what intention. So that's why I'm so impressed by Jack Moses and Jack Sweeney for the age and the youth and the wisdom of that.
I was thinking about that.
I appreciate that. I think that being younger, like looking up to you guys, has been very inspirational. You, Dan Coe, like all these bigger fitness YouTubers, self-improvement YouTubers, like finding them at 20, 21 helped me see things more clearly early. And I resonate with your sentiment that we all are here together because we want to serve humanity. But at the root of it, at least for me, it was at first like, what do I have to do myself to get on the path to my highest self? And then from there, now it's shifted to how can I serve people through writing, through speaking. But to answer your initial question, the root of it for me is this unwavering devotion to finding a path to my highest potential. And it weaves and it goes into unknown places and places that maybe you misstep and you go to college and you go the wrong way, but it's the devotion within that, like, I'm going to course correct. And I don't know where this course correcting is going, but it's to my highest potential. That's why I think we resonate. We all have a devotion to our highest potential above everything else.
Yeah, that resonates very deeply and feels like that's been the guider. That's been the North Star. I'm not going to settle for the life that you think I should live over and over and over and over again. And somehow that has all led us to connect, to see, because when someone's listening to this podcast or when I'm seeing you guys as people show up in the world, I'm saying, I see myself in this person. When you're listening to a podcast, you're like, I see myself in that human being because of the choices they've made and the gifts they have. And that is somewhat like me. And I see that in you guys as friends of, that's like me. I would go about it the same way. I would overwhelm the fucking algorithm. I would just post, truth, go.
Run the jets.
I would run the jets.
Yeah.
And then I would doubt myself. And then I would run the jets again. And it's like this deep, I see you guys. I know what it's like to be in your shoes. I've walked that same road. I'm walking that same road. And so if you're listening to this podcast right now, I would imagine, ask yourself, what part of me is in these people? Because there's some part, you clicked on this episode, you're choosing these thoughts. You're choosing these humans to listen to for this hour, however long we speak. And if you're going to do that, ask yourself, what about this person is like me? And how can I bring out the best qualities that I see in them in myself?
It's beautiful. And I think that everybody that listens to this is going to resonate with one of us, maybe more than the others, because we're all slightly different. we're all slightly different. Like, out of the three of us, Nick, you're the warrior. And you're really stepping into the leader archetype, which I'd love to know your perspective on how he has stepped deeper into a leader archetype over the last 6-7 months that I've been gone. Because I saw a gap. I mean, we still call each other all the time, but like coming back, I noticed a shift in both of you and Jack in a big fucking way.
What was the shifts that you noticed?
I think he's finally, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're finally owning everything that you are. And you're not trying to suppress that warrior spirit.
Yeah.
You're like, this is me. I'm on a fucking mission.
Yeah. I'm on a podcast, bro.
And it doesn't mean that I'm any less spiritual or enlightened or free because I'm choosing to go on a mission fully.
And the reason I'm on this mission, the intention and the energy behind the mission is like purified to a degree that it hasn't been before. Whereas before there were distortions in the energy of like where I'm coming from because the ego would just get in the way. And I think that's what's happened to me and what may have happened to people listening to this podcast is you picked on a job on the listing that sounded cool or looked cool or maybe was a status symbol. And we've all done that. We're all humans. We're all like, but to have kind of created now my own frame and my own definition of what's good and what I desire in this life and why I'm doing it. And it's very explicit. And to then step into that to a degree that I haven't before, that has allowed me to really just find this level of aligned balance that I haven't before. So there's a lot to go into around that, but I appreciate what you guys are saying because I feel it. And after turning 28 last week, I have felt this feeling of like, okay, I've been living my entire life as a F1 car, but there's been like the brakes on while I've been gassing it for 27 years. And it felt like in the lead up to this birthday, I just let off the gas.
To make it practical, what's the brakes that you're talking about?
The brakes were all connected to like who Nick Sweeney should be. Whether that's like who I should be to people online or like my parents or myself. And like you're saying, like I've just owned who I am. I kind of just laid down my sword and shield to the game of life and was like, I'm not going to fight this. I'm not going to fight like where the path is leading, and I'm done trying to manipulate and control and like architect this persona. You're going to get what you're going to get from here on out. And if I am to try to be performative, which inevitably the ego will lead me into something where I'm like, whoa, that's not what, where's the energy coming from again? Like, where's the energy coming from? Is it coming from service, or are you trying to position yourself in some certain way? And a lot of that is due to like what you and I have discussed in depth of just accepting where you're at, which is what I had to do this winter with this stomach healing journey that I was on, and accepting where I was at and stop trying to edit your body, stop trying to edit who you think you are and who the world thinks you are. Just be.
Yeah, that's a powerful frame to come from. Move over to the right a little bit, or your left. Yeah,
I'm out of the frame.
We got to get your good side, bro.
What you're talking about is really powerful. And what came to mind for me was this idea of grandpa energy. And if you think about a grandpa's lived the stages of life and knows this is who I am, take it or leave it. I can be who I am. I don't care about your judgment. I don't care about who I'm supposed to be. This is just who I am. And there's such power in that authenticity. There's such power and release control. Imagine if the grandpa's being like, well, what does this grandchild think? What is this grandchild? How am I going to be the best? It's like you wouldn't even, that doesn't even exist. So
there's a guy in my neighborhood that fits this archetype perfectly. He's like 70-year-old man. He just sits outside in the sun all day and smokes cigarettes, huge beer belly. I've never seen somebody so happy every time I see him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't care. He's just who he is. I love that. And I admire that about old people. I think you have grandpa energy too.
Thank you.
For sure.
I appreciate that. And when you just don't give a fuck, that really helps. I mean, when you own completely your behavior, what you do, what you think is cool, I think it's so cool to meditate and listen to Wayne Dyer. There's 99.9% of people are like, that's the weirdest thing ever, dude. And I could completely understand where they're coming from. And I love myself for being that way. So I think when you can really say, I love myself for being that way, even though, wow, I kind of wish I was different in this way, but I still love myself for being that way. I think that's when you can really, people feel really comfortable around you because they know, oh, if this person's not judging themselves for this behavior that seems weird, then I don't have to either.
Have you noticed deepening into finding your authentic self in the month you've taken off of social media? Or what has that experiment been like?
Yeah, it's been 2 months, and it's been this recalibration of getting back to center. And when I really caught myself like paying attention to the tariffs and getting fearful about the prices rising in early April, I was like, oh, I got to get off of this thing because I can't control what Trump does. I can't control what is going on, but I can control where I place my attention and where I put my perspective. And that's been really powerful for me because I've gotten back to center. I've gotten back to knowing what's really important for me. And that's led me to writing, and that's led me to going deep and deep. And I want to write 12 books in 12 months in 2026. And that came about from the space that I had. And I've done this in 2019 of just taking time off. I did this at the start of 2020 as well. And if you find yourself overwhelmed, it's likely because you're consuming so much. And that might mean this podcast. Turn it off and listen to yourself. I've always said that.
Mhm.
Turn the podcast off, listen to yourself. Anything that we say might be useful, helpful, but at the end of the day, it's you and you. So yeah, that's been very helpful for me.
I would relate to that in the power of ruthlessly saying no to things and having extra attention around what are my inputs. So listeners listening to this right now, we aim for this to be a good input for you.
Yeah.
But there are probably inputs in your digital world that are not serving you.
Yeah.
And there's this, I had a societal kind of program of like, I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
I want to know what's going on.
since I've really just been like, I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm out of here.
Grandpa.
Not in my reality.
Yeah.
And ruthlessly curating, because we talked about it when you were getting off social media. I was like, my feed is great, bro.
Yeah.
My feed is good.
Yeah.
And sometimes it slips into the like, ooh, nah, let's get out of that little niche pocket of the digital sphere. But if you can really curate, what are the books I'm reading? What are the inputs I have on social media? And who are the people I'm around? Who are the nervous systems I'm like co-regulating with? Because I think that that's what we were feeling tonight or last night, today. That is a transmission of energy. It's an input that can either bring you up or can literally just flatline your frequency. So you got to be really attentive.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just being aware of who is the person that I'm spending the most time with, virtually, in person, and how I'm going to become more like them without my even awareness. If I just spend time with that person, I'm going to be like them. So I don't take it for granted that anyone's listened to this. I don't take it for granted that we got the opportunity to spend time together. Like, this is very powerful stuff. And I'm grateful to be more like you guys after spending time with you. I can bring in the ability to use my breath from Nick. I can bring in this ability to see even deeper synchronicities than I ever saw before from Jack. Is if I see a tap, that tap that I just did just now meant something to someone, and it meant something to me too. But the things that I'm not even hearing, and the things that I'm not even aware of, the things that I'm hearing that I'm not aware of, those, I look deeper into the fact that the license plate that I see is 5555. I look deeper into the fact that there's signs everywhere. So, and that's from Jack Moses. So yeah, just feel very grateful to have gotten inputs from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a blessing to be here. When you asked the first question too of like, how did we all end up here? I was just tracing back the steps of like, how did I end up in this studio again? And how did I end up here the first time? And then becoming friends with you guys, like at the root of it all. And we could all go back into our own stories, but I was just a kid trying to figure out how to not work a job and start writing on Twitter.
Yeah.
And now I have like lifelong brothers and friends. So
I was sending you voice memos. You weren't responding.
I had to protect.
Like,
I had
hey.
to protect my time. I had to set a boundary.
Yeah.
Like, who's this kid who's ignoring me?
Interesting.
We are definitely going to be friends. I will make sure of it.
Interesting. We
We-
spoke about that last.
We met each other when we were both in a very different frequency. I
Dude.
think we were away, and at least I can speak for myself. Like, I was away from my authentic self.
How long ago was this? When was this?
Probably 2 years ago on Twitter. Like, I was really playing the creator economy game and was like very lost in that. And I had built a self-image around that. And I was just a less evolved, conscious version of myself at this point. And I think at that time, you were still just based ethos. I was like, who the fuck is this random guy hitting me up on Twitter? And now I'm like sleeping on your couch every night. Like, it's so cool
Yeah.
how it evolves.
Yeah, it's really, and part of the evolution has been because of you being an input in my sphere too. You being an input. I was literally in between like an investor meeting for oil and gas when I sent you that voice memo in a hotel. I don't know. I was in a completely
I
different
remember
place.
exactly where I was. I was walking around my neighborhood.
Yeah,
at
I
home.
do too. Yeah. And we both, and I think that that's something that we were talking about last night as well, is like how open and receptive are you to the magic that's in your life?
Yes.
And for me, I was saying how it's like, it's felt like a growing pain. Like there's part of my ego that doesn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
It's like that license plate doesn't mean shit, bro.
Right. Right.
There's a part of that for me. But
Right.
through seeing you go through this Wayne Dyer craziness, which I don't know if you've talked about on the podcast, but like, and also just being in your company like today, how aware you are of your internal, but also like you're so switched on to everything happening externally, every sound, every bird, every movement, your attention is so fixed. And I'll bring in some scientific stuff, but like every 8 seconds you oscillate between an internal check and an external check.
Oh, interesting.
So we're always oscillating between checking the external, coming back in. And it seems like you just do that in a really powerful way where you're really paying attention.
Is this a set fact, 8 second, or can you condense it?
I believe that you can manipulate it. That sounds like
Yeah.
it would be, where attention goes, energy flows. So if you're paying attention outside, which it seems like you're doing, so maybe you're not oscillating at that timeline.
Right.
You might be, when you're out here, and when you're in here, you're in here. And I think we actually all can claim sovereign power over what we're paying attention to. Do we want to pay attention to what's going on outside or inside?
Yeah. Well, I think this points to something that I think all of our favorite people have, which is that an ability to focus inside and outside. If somebody's only focused inside about their own experience and they never ask you a question about your life, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? If somebody's only invested in your world and what's going on with you? I need to know you. It's all about you. Well, then you feel like, why doesn't this person care about themselves? So when the people who I find most resonance with, and I feel that other people find most resonance with as well, are people who both are focused on their own internal world as well as the world of the person they're speaking to. How does that resonate with you guys?
I think I resonate with people that really put themselves first and fill their own cup up.
For sure.
And we were talking about that with boundaries, like not texting, not responding to certain people, that just there has to be respect for yourself. And if you respect yourself and you hold yourself to a certain standard, I can respect that and I can see that. And then I can either expand up to that level or just meet you there and be like, yeah, I hold myself to the same level of standards. And I think that's also why we resonate. And it's like you got to be ruthless with the people you're around, because if they're kind of lost and it's their journey, like, don't be a savior. I've fallen into that trap of having savior energy and not putting myself first, and then I got burned. That was literally, I think, a big contributing factor to my arduous stomach journey this winter.
was feeling like a savior, wanting to be a savior.
Yeah, just like emptying my cup for people and giving so much, and then like thinking, oh, I can handle all this. It's fine. Like I got infinite space. I got infinite energy. I'll just breathe some more.
Uh-huh.
and that's not reality.
Mm.
It's you have to protect your frequency and fill your cup up, and then you can be the best leader for other people.
Yeah. It starts with inside and caring about yourself. And then, but if that person is only caring about themselves, you're going to look at that person and be like, how come that person doesn't care about the people they're with? And really a person who cares about themselves is caring about others, but it's important to have both.
Yeah, you care about yourself because you care about others. And that's like, we all want to have a contribution to the greater good, but that starts here.
Yeah.
Intention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the overgiving, my personal philosophy, which might be kind of radical, is like, you have no obligation to anybody. And that sounds kind of radical. Like, I even think in your family, like, there's actually no obligation. The obligation is an illusion. It's like a karmic attachment. But if you and I are both conscious enough and both in our own freedom, then we're gonna, in our own freedom and love, care about each other and check in on each other. But the energy of obligation, like, just because I'm your classmate means I have to listen to your 15-minute voice note. Not necessarily. So yeah, I feel more free myself when I transcend the idea of an obligation completely, which can be tricky with family for sure.
You can't be an obligation and love at the same time.
Yes.
That's from Joe Hudson. You can't be an obligation and love at the same time. Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so true. If we're feeling obligated to do something, you can't love that thing. You can trick yourself and convince yourself, oh, I actually do love this person, so I'm going to do this. But if it's coming from love, that's a different energy.
People are balancing this obligation of maybe a job,
right,
that they want to love or don't love, but then they're hitting obligation energy.
How do you transform an obligation to a love?
Yeah.
You do by loving the obligation. If you can't get out of it, you have to focus your attention and energy on the things you do appreciate about this. I'm grateful that money's coming in. I'm grateful that my boss actually lets me spend an hour not doing shit all day. I'm grateful that I get an opportunity to use my mind in this way that I otherwise wouldn't. I'm grateful for my coworkers. You have to figure out the things that you do appreciate and focus your attention there. And then that obligation becomes love. And that's how we transform any obligation.
Yeah, I think that the difficulty that I've experienced in my life is like your attention can be trained on just pessimism because you're a human, and negativity, and by default you almost have to rewrite the whole human body operating manual to go here, instead of all the reasons why this job sucks or all the reasons why this, that, and the other thing isn't good enough. And you have to, I think it starts with like accepting where you're at, and then courage from there. Okay, how can I enjoy this? How can I see this as a good thing? How can I see this as something that's helping me? Even if I can't see it, can I accept that and feel and know that there's a greater thing at play right now? Like, if you hadn't had your dropshipping San Diego excursion,
yes,
if I hadn't had this oil and gas burning fire, dumpster fire, you and the creator sort of like finding your way, we wouldn't be here. And it also goes in line with like a healing journey, I think. I've been feeling into this because I still feel like I'm like sitting at the coffee shop, my stomach's like really hurting. I'm like, what the fuck? But having faith that it just takes some time too. Like, you don't have to rush this. Don't try to be where you're not at and try to like get 2 steps ahead of the universe all the time. And like, that's almost the brakes too on the car. It's like, I don't want to be here. I want to go faster. But then that's like putting the brakes down because you're not just flowing through the experience and being as aware as you can and being as attentive as you can to what you actually want to pay attention to, which is like gratitude and forgiveness and faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I notice my stomach hurts when I am trying to get 2 steps ahead of the universe, or I'm not digesting what's here and now. So that happens sometimes when I'm doing like work that is more in my mind, a means to an end. It's like, okay, I just got to get through this homework assignment. I'll get like the worst stomach ache in that exact moment. But the more I'm present and digesting the full reality now, I'm good. So I don't know if that's resonant or relates, but that's been my experience because I've had stomach issues for a while, on and off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that totally. You were saying like, wow, it feels like I'm really in my heart right now when I'm working. Yesterday when we were at the coffee shop, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the indicator too of like, are you aligned with your soul's mission? Are you feeling the frequency of your heart in your work? And I'm beginning, because I've been able to tap into the body and heart more, delineate what makes my heart chakra light up. And it's writing, it's playing sports, it's singing, it's dancing. Those like, I actually feel my heart like popping out of my chest versus what are the things that I have to like grind through and need like 5 zins and like a cappuccino just to be able to do it. Okay, these things probably aren't in resonance with my highest timeline and my highest expression. So what I see it is like a constant iterative process to how do we fully be in 100% resonance?
Yeah.
And the highest thing is how do you get paid to be in your highest frequency and highest resonance? Because that's the tough thing in this world. It's like I have to be practical and make money, but my spirit wants to make art.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing.
Yeah. I was listening to Wayne Dyer yesterday talk about how he'd never signed contracts. And I just love that idea of like everyone else does this. Everyone else signs contracts. And for him, you want me to sign a contract? I'm not doing it. And it's everyone else where it was like, oh yeah, have 7, 10 employees. It's like, I just have 1. That idea is so attractive to me, keeping it simple and knowing what you're here for and what you're not. So it's inspiring. And it's like, what if you made the rules for your own life? And what if you said, everyone else does that, but I'm going to do it this way?
You have to know yourself so deeply to set that type of frame.
Yeah. And know that you're here for joy and know what is taking you away from joy and know that being a part of this universe means you're in this human body thinking that there are rules and structures and ways of being that you have to be that you don't actually have to be.
And following your joy, I think a requirement of it is letting down everybody else's expectations of you.
Yeah.
Including your past self.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no personal history. I'm not obligated to follow yesterday's decisions. Right?
Is that a Wayne Dyer?
No, that just came through. Wayne Dyer, yes. Wayne Dyer says yes.
We need to write that one down. That's great.
Yeah, because I find myself changing my mind a lot. And
you're Gemini.
Yeah, well, in Vedic astrology, yeah.
Interesting.
And I notice there's a part of me that wants to just say this is the way it is and it will forever always be that way. And there's part of me that says, yeah, but that's not you. And part of your genius is the fact that you change your mind, that you go from being so focused on this podcast to doing Alignment Academy, to doing retreats, to doing coaching, to doing writing books. Like that's part of what I'm here for, to just dabble and go deeply into the things that I want to go deeply into, but also let go. And I know I see the impact it has on other people and the people that I love of, wow, Danny changed his mind again. I want to support him. How do I support him if he changed his mind again? Now I have to get on a new program.
That's beautiful that you feel that from other people that support you changing your mind.
Yeah.
Because usually it's like, oh shit, like, at least in my life, it's been like, you changed your mind again?
Yeah.
Like, that's an interesting energy.
Well, I feel that too. Oh, you changed your mind again? And it takes a moment for them to recalibrate to my new reality. And part of me feels bad for that. Of, damn, I wish I wasn't this way. And there's a deeper knowing inside of me that says, this is for the best of all parties involved. And actually, that's what I'm here to do. follow the truth and change my mind.
Can you clue us in more to this chapter of your life? Like, I would love to know what you're learning about yourself in the 2-month hiatus, going to Hawaii, writing books. Like, it's a big step. And you haven't been in the podcast studio, right? In a while.
Yeah, I haven't been doing as many podcasts or as lit up by it. And that's just because I'm sinking into what is timeless and what is real.
Timelessness.
Yeah, it's the timelessness that keeps popping up of I want the things that I'm producing to still be as valuable, if not more valuable, 10 years from now than it is today. And a podcast is one way to do that. And a book to me feels like the deepest, truest medium. 10 years ago, people were reading books. 10 years from now, I imagine people will still be reading books. And that's because to put a book together takes time, it takes effort, it takes focused attention. It shows people this is where I put my attention, this is what I cared about for this moment in time, more than a podcast would, and more than a 60-second clip of anything would. So I'm really going for what is wisdom. And what I've learned about myself is that I'm a writer. This is what I'm here to do. I tap into the energy of me being 12 years old, 13 years old, and I'm living in Wayne Dyer's words. I'm living in his podcast. He wrote 41 books in 36 years. So he's a writer, and I'm a writer too. So it's kind of tapping me into what I've always known. And that's a really exciting thing.
It's beautiful. It's inspiring to me. I've been coming to the exact same internal feeling over the past month, especially. I'm a writer. I want to write. I want to write for a living.
Yeah.
That's what it's come to for me.
Yeah.
And like feeling the heart after I write and I read back what I wrote, feeling the heart, that's the indicator, like, yes. And I was writing as a kid too, all the time. Like I remember 8 years old, I wrote like a nonfiction write-up scientific article about like, I don't know, like sea lions. And I just like brought it to my parents. They're like, "What? Why did you do this?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's just
Aquarius
fun."
Moon.
Aquarius Moon. It was just fun. So I resonate deeply, and it's inspiring to see you fully step into the path. And I don't know if there was fear, but like transcend the fear of like, I'm going to be off of social media.
Yeah.
And like, this is probably where a lot of my income comes from or where my businesses are built on. But I'm going to take a break from that to focus on the long-term, highest leverage, most dense piece of information that I can share with the world. So I really love that.
Yeah. Thank you. And there definitely has been fear that's come up around it. But the real fear is stepping into what I'm here to do and living in what I'm here to do. Mm-hmm. That's been the deepest fear. And it's like, okay, if I fail at this, then what?
Mm-hmm.
And to know that me doing it is actually the success.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I appreciate you seeing that and recognizing it and seeing yourself in it. Mm-hmm. And I really hope to put my message out onto paper and to let the chips fall where they may.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not what you're meant to do, then you weren't meant to do that.
Well, it was what I was meant to do in that moment. And then,
yeah. Like if that's not the thing,
right?
You putting pressure on yourself, because I relate to that. If this doesn't work out, then what is next? Like what could possibly be next?
Right.
But it always evolves into something that then makes sense.
Correct.
And I also I remember before I even really knew you, I was like, that guy's probably going to write a book. I don't know.
Yeah.
And with each iteration, be it like you're an Olympic ski racer and then performance coach. Almost Olympic. Well, if you could, in my mind, you're an Olympic ski racer. That's how I tell people about you, honestly.
Okay.
It's just easier.
Fake news.
Sorry.
Cancel me.
But like each iteration that you go through and it becomes successful to the degree that it does in that moment, you prove to yourself, like, I can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it seems like coherence is the North Star mission, but if not, how much wisdom and skills did you gain from the experience? And now the next thing has even higher ceiling.
Yeah.
So you can't really fail. You can just iterate.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the everything's happening for a reason, I choose to believe. And the key is like trusting yourself in the moment to do your best and to make the right decision, because there's times where I'm like, I also want to do this over here.
Yeah.
And I want to do that over there. And you can do it all, but not at once. I had to kind of figure that out just through experience. But because part of it is, okay, yes, change your mind. Like, if it's not for you, bail.
Yeah.
Don't linger. Move quick. Be, again, kind of like ruthlessly like, that's a no. If that's not a full fuck yeah, that's a no. Whether that's a relationship or a job or some occupation or just a conversation with someone. But also trust yourself to know, like, okay, I have to, like, I want to commit to this, and there's going to be times where I'm going to feel obligated to it, and I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to commit because you fix yourself on whatever that North Star is. And I think that that's the way I've seen it is like, okay, screw the like thinking of it as I'm a writer or I'm a this or I'm a that or I'm a whatever. Like, what is the mission really? If the mission is going to take care of everything in my philosophy, like, what's the mission? God. Just, am I
was thinking in my head, what could he say that I would agree with him? And there weren't that many things.
No, there's not that many things. So you can be like, okay, I'm going to be this type of a person. I fell into that fully and wrote a whole book about it and wrote out, this is who Nick Sweeney is and this is who he's going to be. And it was a trap.
Yeah. No, I love that you said that. And actually what comes up for me is this, when I was at this retreat in Hawaii, the guy leading the retreat, John Patrick Morgan, amazing guy, recorded a podcast episode with him, 472. You can check that out. He said during it that his mission was to create wealth through conversation and through dialogue. Like that, when he started 15 years ago, coaching, that's what he would, and that's all he ever does. He just creates through conversation, and that creates income. And I stopped for a second and I said, what is that for me? What is my version of that? Because I've lived a similar life, and I've been a coach, and I've led retreats, and I've done podcasts, and does that resonate? And I was like, no, it doesn't fully. It does resonate to create wealth or create income through conversation, but it doesn't fully. What is the difference there? What is my version of that? And I wrote in my notebook, I want to make all my wealth through talking to God.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, oh, that's really all I'm doing through a podcast. That's really all I'm doing through writing. I'm talking to God. And it made me, you've said that before as well. It's like, I just want to talk to God all day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so create your income through talking to God, and let that be the only way that you'll make income.
Mm-hmm. And you have to fully surrender to God's will over your own for that to happen, which me even saying that is more from theory than like lived experience. But
Sure.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
I have said that, but I've said walking with God instead of talking with God.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. And like, if you were to preface, okay, my mission is to make money through X, what if you just got rid of the money part or whatever? Like, it's all a byproduct. The mission will take care of everything. You walk with God, you talk with God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can trust that whatever is meant to be is meant to be. And you can also know that whenever death comes, like, that's your time then. You can welcome it with open arms. And I think it's when you're not living in alignment, then you start to fear death more, because you're like, I'm not doing what I should be doing. I'm not walking with God. I'm not talking with God. I'm not embodying love and truth to the degree that I know that I can. And that is making me feel afraid.
Right. Because when you're doing everything you can, you say to yourself, if I die in this moment, it's okay.
Right.
But if there's some part of you that's not in resonance, you're like, what if I die? Well, I didn't have this conversation. Fuck.
That's an interesting thought experiment. Like, right now in this moment, like, would you be okay with death? Like, right now in this moment.
I got books to publish.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've got stuff to do.
I know in my heart that there's books that I'm supposed to write.
And that brings the clarity on what you're supposed to do.
Correct.
That question, because right then it became very clear in my mind
Correct.
what I'm supposed to be doing.
I just said, yeah, fully ready to die right now.
We got some work to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm living but it's so interesting because there was a point in time when someone asked me on a podcast creatively, like, have you given everything there is to give for you? And my answer at the start of this year was yes. And now so much has opened up in my life, and I'm like, I got to write 12 books in 12 months. There's impact, and in truth, I don't have to do any of that. I know that. And there's a deep desire in me, a full fuck yes desire to help myself and humans become more loving humans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love that for you, and I feel that from you, and I've felt that from you since you really got off social media. You've really like, wow. I feel like you say you're going deeper, like you went a couple floors deeper into what your truth is and what you've been meaning to do, and then you tell me about the idea last night that you have that I think is so fucking aligned for you. And I mean, I've been talking shit about you online the whole time since you've been gone. But the reason why I say, yeah, I'm ready to die right now is because I have surrendered like the decision like to God.
Right.
Like if you think it's the time, fine. Who am I to argue with that?
Right. That's fair.
I personally think there's a lot of shit left here that I could be doing. You could put me to use here. But if you want to send the nukes in, all right, I'll accept that.
I love that.
And that has helped so much with like healing the body too. So, all right, if this is like the path, and fuck, okay, I accept that.
Yeah.
I don't really love it, but I accept it.
Right.
Because there is this, I think the fear is not so much the fear of death, it's the fear of what you have not done yet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, like, for me at least.
Well, it's my belief that we come into this lifetime knowing exactly when we're going to leave. And it's my belief that the events of our lives are pre-written, and how we can feel about it is not. So you get to decide, how am I going to feel about this thing that happens? You get to decide, okay, I'm on this podcast right now in this moment. I'm going to decide to feel good about this. That's my vantage point where I'm currently at. And I'm curious what you guys think about that as well.
You guys have me contemplating over here. Like, I'm fully listening. This is the same, like the internal, external. Like, I'm fully here listening, but I'm also deep in a process right now. Like really contemplating death. Like a number popped in my head, like the year. I'm like, what the fuck? That's weird.
What year
It's 83 popped in my head.
83.
And then I'm like, wait, that's not that long.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, wait, like, holy shit, this is not just infinite. This is not eternal. My spirit is eternal, but this lifetime's not. And like, what do I really want to do is becoming more clear through this conversation. I want to write books. I want to get married.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the two things that are really in my mind.
Yeah.
And it's still months away, but the path beyond this year seems to be crystallizing.
Wow.
Based on my 2 days I've been in Austin, because I learn about myself so much through conversation with you guys, more so than anybody necessarily at home, because if we think about like frequency and resonance, I'm much closer attuned to you guys. But when I get around you, I realize my own uniqueness in a way, and I learn about myself through what you guys are both saying. So I feel very excited and optimistic and free to do exactly what the fuck I want to do next year.
Wow.
And I'm so excited.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I love to hear that.
We've had a day.
We've had a few days. 5 a.m. gym.
Few days. We were at 5 a.m. gymming it up.
We were up till 11 last night.
Yeah.
Drinking tea, discussing.
I mean, I think that my belief is not solidified around the matter of like, do I come into this life knowing the exact date and time that I'm going to die? Because I choose to believe that you are choosing how you feel about your life, You have free will. You're a co-creator in this life. You come in with all the good and you come in with all the bad, and that's kind of, the work. But I found myself when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to die young. Just like randomly, like all the happiest people die young. I'm going to die young. And I'm like choosing that. And I'm choosing like something that maybe isn't even, I think you have to be really careful about, like your inputs, and then also what you're impressing upon your subconscious, what you're speaking to God, and what timeline you're aligned with, because there's a timeline, I believe, where I live to 150.
Yeah, I'm changing my answer to 131.
Okay.
I'm changing my number.
Let's go. Almost doubling.
Let's go. Maybe
That's
more.
what we do on this podcast.
Yeah.
We double your life expectancy through beliefs.
That's a great hook. Great frame.
That's a great, See where his head's at today?
Yeah, always
Great.
hooks. Always
Great.
hooks.
He likes
Always
this. I'm
attention.
writing for him. So.
I love it. I think that there is this flexibility, and that you can kind of like I've been really thinking about this in terms of like where the world's at. But if all is mind and the mind is all, and if I do believe that I am a hologram of a universe within the universe, and the universe is me and I am the universe, and then I, for some God-given reason, have the power of free will against the deterministic nature of the universe, then I get to choose to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, I could choose to go out and start chain smoking cigs.
Right.
And I'll probably die young.
Right.
I could choose that.
Right.
I could also choose to, start like doing a bunch of crazy breath work, and I could also end my life early that way. Or I could extend it, depending on what am I going to choose to do and how do I live my life. And I think that it's truly a choice that you can have a relative. I do believe in this sort of idea that you look at the landscape before you enter into the character reincarnation that is Danny Miranda. Or like, oh, this is going to be a dope reincarnation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might fuck it up. Might not. Might go highest timeline, might go lowest timeline.
Yeah.
And I'm accepting that. I'm accepting the bandwidth of realities that I'm stepping into. And so I think that there is a degree of choice, because I just feel better about that. And I also feel like, in terms of reading the news or something, maybe this is me just being me, but I'm like, that's not happening in my reality.
Right.
Like that thing in the news, like the fear-mongering World War III is happening and no one is even paying attention to it. I'm like, no. I choose to believe that that's not in my reality. Yeah. I think we are almost all oscillating between different realities and coming in and coming out, and like, I'm meeting you in your reality today. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things, but that's my current way of seeing it, and that gives me the empowered belief to just act and seek out this highest potential, highest timeline in every single choice and every single like data point I'm looking at with my attention. What am I focused on right now? Because it is a choice. That is the currency here in this reality. Yeah,
the power of choice is really important, and to really sink into, what am I choosing? What am I choosing? What am I choosing? And to know that you are creating what you're choosing. If I'm seeing my sibling, my brother, is like, oh, he's a bad guy for this reason, I'm like, okay, I'm creating him. I'm choosing to see him in that light. There's a different way to choose him. There's a different way to describe him in my own mind, which changes how he shows up to me. And so I think that my first book is going to be around something like this, and might be called The Power of Choice, because it's like, that's what we're doing. We have choice. We have agency. Our attention matters. What we are focusing on impacts our reality so completely that we don't even realize that we're in that reality.
And you choose unconditional love.
Yeah,
I think
that's the highest choice.
Right.
I think something's there with that book title.
Yeah.
Major activation, sacral chakra activation.
Beautiful.
When you said that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that. I feel that the power of choice is what we have access to. And if we can really get good at choosing the right thoughts, the right questions, the right mentors, the right friends, our lives will be completely different. And to recognize, when am I not choosing? Because there are moments you go through a dream and you're like, did I choose that? It's like, yeah, you did, but you chose that the day before and you weren't even recognizing that you were choosing that dream by virtue of what you were focusing your attention on.
Like, am I awake right now or not?
Yeah.
Because
Simply put,
we can say that we're awake to a great degree, but I know there are times where I go fucking offline, bro.
for sure.
And suddenly I'm jerking off.
Yes.
I'm like, yo, bro, snap out of it.
Yeah,
Here we
and that's
go.
okay. And it's like, how much can you accept that you are not always awake?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's being awake.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps you come to terms with, I'm not always going to be perfect at this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the fact that you can be okay with the fact that sometimes you go to sleep makes you more awake. Because the opposite of that is just say, no, I'm not, I'm always awake. I'm always perfect. I'm always good. It's like, no, you're not. And by living in that reality, you're not having the courage to admit the truth.
And I said this today already with another guy that we met at the coffee shop, but and I've said this on this podcast, but like, set alarms on your phone for forced reflection and you'll realize how asleep you may be or how awake you are.
Yeah. What are yours? What questions popped up last night? What was the happiest moment of your day? That was one.
That's one. I have alarms going off right now every hour, just saying, am I dreaming right now?
Wow.
Because I'm
Incredible.
learning to lucid dream.
Because you want the power of choice in your dreams.
Yes, totally. And then there's one that says go to bed in all caps. And there's one that says get ready for bed in all caps. And there's one that says what's the happiest moment of your day. So it's pretty simple for me, but like every 2-3 months, I'll shift it all up to personalize. Like, they can either be reminders to just wake up. What was I just thinking about right now is like my favorite one. That's what I have everyone start off with. What were you just thinking about right now?
Yeah.
Can you catch the whisper going past the guardian of the gate into your subconscious, impressing your subconscious again and again with the wrong pattern, reinforcing the wrong pattern or maybe the right pattern? You can be like, oh shit, I'm thinking about the right stuff all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I am awake.
I
Let's
love
go.
reality.
I love it.
I've often thought about doing an experiment. I've never done this, but I'm curious about what it would look like to do this. Is for on the top of every hour, every moment, every hour that you're awake, to meditate for 1, 3, 5, 10 minutes. How much differently would your reality be if you just stopped for 10 minutes at for the last 10 minutes of the hour or the first 10 minutes of the hour and just nothing, silence come in? That would be powerful, right?
I think that would be incredibly powerful because for me, it's when I'm not present, then I have to like almost think about shit after it's already happened.
Right.
Because I'm like ruminating on a conversation I had where I wasn't fully present. But if I was fully present, then that energy would have already cleared through me and I could be present with what is then. But if you stop every so often throughout the day and you're just like, chink, clear, okay, fully integrated the morning, now we can move into the afternoon and we're cleared. We're not thinking about what happened in the morning anymore. So I think that that's like, yeah, bro.
I got that from writing. And when I wrote for 2 hours straight and felt like a wave of, I don't feel like I can write anymore. All that stories come up. I'm like, all right, cool. 10 minutes. And then I was, whoa, the second wind is incredible. And I could write for hours more. And I'm like, what is that? How do you write 6,000 words in a day? How do you write 10,000 words in a day? You do that by being present to what's true for you, clearing all the energy that got stuck and then keep going.
And downloading the Coherence app
Yes.
during that time.
Yes.
I got you, bro.
Coherence app.
No, but I love that experiment. And I think if you were to actually do that, your entire reality would rearrange itself because you would be so forced to slow down.
Yeah.
And everything that keeps you running, like that 5 minutes, everybody just checks their phone. Who texted me? How much would your reality change? What people would stay in your life? What people would disappear? What bad habits, distractions would go away? It's a great idea. I don't know if I'll do it, but it's a great idea.
I think it would be a cool experiment. I might
Let's do it.
try it at some point.
You seem to be like very keen on running experiments.
Yes.
Like you got your 7-day email experiment. You're kind of like a spiritual scientist.
That's good. That's good.
Spiritual scientist, Danny Miranda, coming at you live. I like it. I appreciate the reflection. Yeah, I found that sometimes it's overwhelming for me to be like, I'm going to send a daily email every day for the rest of my life. I'm going to send a daily email for the next 365 days. Okay, that is something that maybe I would like, but like, what's a smaller version of that? And so I'm going to record 100 podcast episodes. I'm going to meditate for 60 minutes a day for 60 days straight. And I don't always succeed at these things, but when I do, it builds the belief and muscle in me, and it helps. If there's something I really want that's long-term, I just try to bring it down to the present day. And, if you write 10,000 words a day for 5 days in a row, you have a first draft of a book. That you heard.
Did you hear
that? I heard that.
That felt like it was channeled through you for me to hear.
Yeah, and it's so confusing because we're like, oh, this book is this big thing, but it's just 10,000 words a day for 5 days. And the thing is, okay, so how many hours does it take you to write 10,000 words? Well, if you write 1,000 words or 1,250 words an hour, it takes 8 hours to write 10,000 words. So 1,250 words an hour for 8 hours, and you have a book if you do it over a week. 8-hour workday. You're telling me you can't do an 8-hour workday for writing? It's like so interesting how we make these things so complex in our head, but we haven't broken them down. And then we break them down. It's like, oh, that's actually quite manageable.
Because we're judging them before we do them. And that's what like Alignment Academy was about. That's what I was trying to impress on everyone. It's like, you can't judge the morning routine until you've done it for like a month, at least a month. Well, you can't judge whether you want to write for the rest of your life every single day until you've done it for 3 months.
Correct. And that's the thing, that the lack of judgment is the reason why meditation stuck for me. Because I was saying, this doesn't work, but I'm going to try it for 90 days. And then when the 90 days was complete, I was like, oh my God, that actually did work. And the lack of judgment of whether it would work or not is actually the reason why it worked. So that's true for writing a book. That's true for meditating. That's true for doing breath work. You can't judge yourself for doing or not doing. You can't judge, oh, this isn't doing anything. You just say to yourself, I will judge, but at the end of this experiment.
Right. I think people like bail without the commitment part, and then they judge. Yeah. And then they judge other people for not sticking with stuff because they themselves haven't been able to stick with certain things, when it's like, okay, you got to commit.
Right. And it's not a yes or a no. Like you can be in both. I'll speak for myself. I've been in both of, I've committed to things and stuck through it. I've committed to things and not done it. And that's okay. And I would like to be the person who commits to something and then this word means something so much but I'm not. I haven't shown up as that person yet. And so, I just want to hold space for the fact that you can show up as someone who's committed and you could show up as someone who's not. And it's okay. You get the power to choose in this moment who you are right now.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, like, you really will get to know what your reaction to this phenomenon is when you fall off the horse one day. It's like, okay, well, what are you choosing to pay attention to when you forget to meditate one day and you were on a streak and you were going to go for 30 days and you were on day 23 and you forgot?
Right. What happens then?
Do you keep going? Or is that it? Yeah, I resonate with what you're saying. And I think that the key is to just keep going. If you miss a day, it's not this perfect, desperate perfectionism is totally something that has shot me in the face.
I need to be perfect or else I'm not worthy.
Yeah, just this ironclad standard that I held myself to, that I think other people hold themselves to. And then when you inevitably don't meet that standard, it's like these dopamine detoxes that I used to do that were like all the rave and whatever. I'd be like, I'm going to do this and this and this, and there'd be a laundry list of things. And then I'd like eat a fucking cookie and the whole thing goes out. Like everything comes crashing down all at once. It's like, no, we can keep going and stay committed to this to the degree that is possible, and understand and accept that it's not perfect.
Yeah. And the lack of perfection is actually part of the process of being human.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've really leaned into that. Just like, this is what it is, bro. There's going to be days where I'm not in alignment. There's going to be days where it feels great. And to try to control it and to try to stay like so straight edge and have these crazy expectations of myself. It just doesn't do me favors because it's not sustainable. It's like, what can you do for the next 1,000 days straight? That's why I have people like, make the bar so low. Read 1 page. Write 100 words a day.
Meditate for 1 minute.
Yeah.
And also, if you do 1 push-up a day, yes, you'll be the type of person who does push-ups, and you won't see any results, which means you're going to judge the fact that push-ups don't work. So for me, I've always been like, okay, I like to see progress. So I'm going to shoot for the fucking moon. I'm going to write 1,000 words a day. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to shoot for 3,000 words a day. And that's exciting for me. So I see the advantage in both, but sometimes it's the fact that I wrote 1,000 words a day for 5 months straight that it gives me the permission to shoot for a higher bar. So
yeah, it depends on the person 100%, because yes, there's no growth in safety, but maybe 1 push-up is like, that's a lot.
For sure.
Maybe.
For sure. And to me, and that's what I think is really the most powerful, getting the personal advice, getting the personal attention, understanding where you're at in this process with this thing that you've done or you haven't done, and deciding from there. Because, for you might be an Olympian, and for you might be someone who's just on the couch and just being like, the idea of running a mile freaks me out. Like, those are both different realities of people potentially listening to this right now. And to know and to see yourself in the truth of who you are and where you're at in this area, and to give yourself permission to do the thing, to be that person every day, that's where so much fulfillment comes from life. But it starts with knowing yourself, and it starts from who am I really? And from that honesty, then making a decision.
Mm-hmm. And I remember at the start of the podcast, I said everybody's going to resonate with somebody else differently in this podcast. And like, you guys are very different from me in the way that and maybe this is the next evolution for me, but you commit to things like, I'm going to do this every day, and you stick to it. I don't operate like that, really. I really just flow. Like, some days I don't meditate at all. I don't meditate for a week. Then it's like, I just really feel like I got to meditate. I'll meditate for 4 straight hours.
Yeah.
So like, there's no one right or wrong approach to any of this game of life.
No.
Yeah.
But we can learn from each other, because I admire you guys' devotion and discipline to the day in and day out behavior.
Yeah.
You might, and you definitely have like, maybe you may have different shadows or things driving you that are like, for me, well, with the desperate perfectionist, that's like, all right, I'm doing this shit every fucking day. I'm like a dog with a bone. Like, and if I lose it, I'm a failure. And I can use more of that like flowy in my life. And I guess my question to you would be like, okay, I think that the flowy vibe is great. Love that. It seems to me though that the people that are looking for this sort of information are not trusting themselves, and they don't really know who they are yet. And so that, especially like men, like, we don't have like an initiation into manhood in society right now. And so for you, like, it seems that you've already cultivated this confidence that's based on evidence of like, I am disciplined. So I don't need to meditate every single day. Like, I already believe that about myself. So what's your perspective on that, and how did you get there?
Yeah, it's almost like you have to go through a stage. And the first stage for me was in college, where I got super into monk mode, discipline. I'm meditating every morning, 20 minutes. I'm reading an hour every morning. I'm running 5 miles in the cold. Like, I went through that. I was actually in that. And sometimes I forget. But then the next evolution that felt like for me in terms of freedom and full embodiment of my full feminine and masculine nature was then going to the other end of the spectrum and completely taking any expectation away at all for like months in Thailand. Like, I literally did nothing. Maybe not months, but I did next to nothing, and I forced myself to do nothing. But then I naturally would gravitate towards, I'm feeling high energy. I'm going to go fucking run or work out. But it was coming from expression and love in that moment, rather than I'm going to forcefully make myself do it. But I think there's a balance of all of it.
Yeah. And I was going to say, in that's the piece that the reason why I'm disciplined with meditation and do it every day is because I fucking love it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I write every single day and have since August 26, 2024 is because I love being able to look at this one line a day journal and be like, oh, I remember what happened on October 14th. And I couldn't tell you right now what happened on October 14th, but I love that I have a record of it. That fills me with so much joy and love and appreciation that I want to honor the version of myself that's 34 years old, if I ever get to that point, by having this all filled out and knowing that every day is accounted for. And I'll write in my journal on June, what are we on? June 9th? Oh, 6/9. Interesting.
I know.
On June 9th, I recorded a podcast with two of my best friends and we had an amazing time. And this is what we talked about.
And the difference, I think, between your nature and mine is like, this is podcast 473. I have no idea.
It's not podcast 473.
It's not? Okay.
No.
I thought you said 472 for the last one. But the point is, you're like, you're quite analytical.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm
incredible.
bookie.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
He's a bookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Betting on our games.
Yeah.
That's funny. I just really, like, there's some things that stick. You know, some things really stick, specific numbers, specific dates, and I love the story. And so if I can tell the story through the date, that makes it for me more impactful.
You told me my date, time, location.
I could put
I was
it out
like,
there
how the
if you
fuck?
want.
It's like, what are you doing to keeping tabs on me like that?
Well, didn't the Michael Norris say you should be managing people's money?
Yeah, the Vedic astrologer. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, and at the start of that is a love for people. And I love myself and I love people and I just genuinely care. And I don't remember everything, but I do remember the things that stick out to me. And from that place of loving people, I just want other people to enjoy their experience. And when attention is placed on a person, that is love. Attention is love. And so it starts with giving myself attention. Meditating is giving yourself attention, is giving yourself love. And from that place, after I've given myself attention every day, first thing in the morning, saying, thank you, God, for another day, and giving myself attention, giving myself love, I can then give you attention. And from that place of filling my own cup, I can then fill other people's cups. And so that's the reason why I know your birth date and birth time. It's because I've given myself enough attention to know my own so that I have space for yours.
And the love is felt.
Yeah.
And I will say that it's interesting because you can tell when someone that you're around a lot, when they've dialed in their like morning routine. Like when they've taken care of themselves, you can feel that.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, then there's not this like, it's about me thing too.
Right. Because you've already taken care of me.
Yeah.
So then I could
you don't need to
focus on
project anymore. It's almost like,
it's a hack. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a complex thing. I mean, for me, it's just thanking God and meditating and just being with my thoughts for 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be anything complex. Nick will give you something complex if that is what you enjoy, right? You can break down the exact science of the reason why every person should be doing this, or this, a custom protocol of what they're best suited for based on their biogeometry and what I'm like, bro, I just want to sit for 20 minutes and I appreciate this. And thank God someone like you is out there who can give people this information on a specific thing that's good for them, because I can't do that. And there are many people who can't do that. And 99.9% of the population cannot do that. But you can.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I have been obsessed with routines.
Right.
I don't know. And so I've been able to like, but it's the same thing as like, this is my lived experience. I've tried all the routines throughout these different periods in my life. And when I was in this period in my life, I needed to shut the fuck up and lock in. And then I'm in this period in my life where actually I need to be disciplined about not being disciplined. And,
Exactly.
and so, yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. But I would say, yeah, whatever you feel, if you're listening to this, it's like one way to approach it is fuck a routine, fuck what everyone said on this podcast, screw everything that I've heard of. Like, what is my heartstring pulling me to do in the morning?
Yes.
And make sure that it's just not looking at your phone or doing something that's like definitely not in alignment.
Right.
But maybe it's walking in the park. Maybe it's Yeah.
Right. The best way to ask yourself is, okay, if I was observing this person and I knew what happened after they did this action, would I be proud of that person? Would I like that? Was this a positive contributing factor or is this against?
Yep.
So
Wake up, doom scroll.
right. No, wake up, fill yourself with water and walk around the park and enjoy the company that you are cultivating with you and God. Like,
Because people have done what you want to do if you're listening to this by waking up and journaling. And other people have done it by waking up and meditating. And other people have waken up and they just start cleaning the house. Or like,
right.
That's my dad. He's like, I'm up cleaning.
Right.
And I've started doing that. I'm like, this is actually pretty goated.
Yeah, it's
Just
meditative.
cleaning. Yeah.
So this has been a beautiful podcast.
Yeah.
Where can we send people to connect them with you guys further? Where would you like people to go if they want more Nick Sweeney or Jack Moses in their life?
So you can go to coherencebreath.com. That's the app that I'm creating with my brother. And the goal is to create the largest simultaneous meditation in person and remote, breaking the world records. And we're just trying to get people breathing in and breathing out at the same time throughout the whole world. Global brain heart coherence. And you can find my socials on that app and my brother's, and coherencebreath.com.
Love it.
Let's go. I'll also second the coherence. I'm helping them out a little bit with some writing and content, and marketing is fun to build with your brothers. I do feel like we're brothers or cousins or something, like from another life. Some people were commenting on that. They're like, you guys all look like brothers. I'm like, that's awesome.
Flow's ripping. So
they're a little bit taller than me, but it's okay.
Yeah.
For my stuff, I would say just Twitter's the main place. It's Jack Moses 0, and then I'm going to be writing a lot more on Substack, so you can look up my name on Substack. And I have an astrology newsletter there too, if you're interested in that.
Cool. Link down below. And for me, if you enjoyed this episode, let me know on email. Danny@DannyMiranda.com is the best place to get in contact with me. I love you guys so much. I love you, listener, watcher, viewer, so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your time and energy cultivating it with us. We don't take that for granted, and we're so grateful for you. We love you so much. God bless you, and have a great, great day or night. Peace.
Peace.
peace.